All right, good Wednesday. Kids are excited about this weekend. Great opportunity for us. Got some good weather here the last couple of days, cooling down a little bit, get us ready for this weekend. I heard it's a sellout or something like that, but it's a great setting up there, so it should be a full stadium. I know there's a bunch of Pirates going up there, so excited about the weekend.
What's the balance been like with the open date of trying to get the guys healthy, but obviously you got to be physical about it?
No doubt. Well, that's the balance going into a game like this. I'm glad we had the open date. I mean, it's preparing for a team like Army, especially running the offense they run as efficiently as they run it. The extra time was well needed, but we also needed it to get rested up and get some guys healed up. So I thought we took Sunday, Monday, Tuesday completely off. There's some guys that were limited all week, but Wednesday, Thursday were very physical practices, especially for the two fronts. Love how the kids responded. They got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, so that's good too. I thought we've been very physical, very focused yesterday and today. So now big thing between now and Saturday is recovery and getting guys ready to go. Health-wise, physically-wise, get our tanks full. I think the players have done a good job of that balance.
When you look at the week so far, preparation, how do you feel like the guys have responded, both in meetings and on the practice field?
Very good. Now the thing they got to do is we got to take it to Saturday. I stand up here, I try to be very honest with you guys when you ask me questions. We practiced fantastic today. One of our better Wednesdays of the year, and we practiced well yesterday. I thought our effort's been excellent. Our execution, we had some execution issues yesterday, but I thought we fixed a lot of those today, and we were very sharp. Now we got to take it to Saturday, and we talked about that this morning in the team meeting. We can't stop ourselves on Saturday. That's why I look at all these games that they've played and these teams that they've played, and they are not going to make many mistakes in any phase. I mean, they just are just really impressive. But what they have really thrived on is the other team's mistakes, and that's the key to it. Is just, other teams haven't given themselves a chance sometimes because they're just shooting themselves in the foot. And so really it comes down to our execution, and, matching their physicality, and it's going to be a hell of a ball game. But I'm very pleased with the way our kids are preparing. Tomorrow's a big mental focus day for us, and so meetings today have to be really good to prepare for that. And then we just got to continue to get them just dialed in to be ready to go at 12 o'clock on Saturday.
Coach, you also talked about preparing for that offense, which is kind of unique. Is that tougher for the scout team to replicate compared to maybe some more traditional looks?
Yeah, and that's really the key for getting ready for it. We started weeks ago with the scout team running this offense after hours, after practices, and getting them ready. And, a guy like Josh Benton, boy, he's been impressive this week. Just, he's been mimicking their quarterback. Of course, Josh was an outstanding high school quarterback in this offense. But, having him certainly helped. But our scout team has given us a very good look this week. But that's really a key to it because, when I used to run this offense, you didn't worry as much when you're facing a triple option team because, every day in practice you were getting a scout look, a really good one. But when you don't run it, that's the challenge. And so we'll see how effective our scout team's been when we line up on Saturday. There's no way they're going to be as fast and as precise as what we're facing, but hopefully they've given us a good enough look.
How much more important to be exact with all the details of the game, but low possessions like you're probably going to have Saturday?
Yeah, and I mean you see that's the key. I put that up last week and it stayed up there. We got to have great discipline. We got to have great attention to detail, and we got to be physical. And execution's going to be key. But hopefully we maximize our possessions on Saturday, and hopefully we can do a great job of limiting theirs.
With option coaches, I know at times kind of share notices early in your career. Do you have any crossover coaching on game? What are your thoughts on what you've done on it?
Well, first, I think I have a lot of respect for Coach. We first met when he was at Georgia Southern, and I was at Lenore-Ryan. And then I went to the Citadel right as he was leaving to go to Army. And, we've talked at times over the years, but we've never really, X'd and O'd together. But I respect very much what he has done. I mean, it's really impressive. I got a chance to watch him, over the last couple of years. I think this year's team is probably his best team he's had there. But he's done a good job of adapting, each year. What he's doing now is much different than what he was doing 5 years ago. but I think he is, maybe the best triple option coach in the country. And he's been doing it for a long time, and he's won everywhere he's been. So I really respect him a lot.
Is there any update on Zakai Barker?
He practiced today.
Okay.
Yeah, he was out there practicing today. Yeah, yep. Anything else?
Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys.
You guys ready?
Oh, good.
Okay, Coach.
Y'all go ahead.
Coach, just the bye week, when you look back at the first 6 games, what do you like about where your offense is? What do you want to see them continue to grow at?
I think the biggest thing is, starting to have the ability to create some explosives. I think that was the most positive thing probably out of the first 6 games. I think the things that were just, glaring things that we have to fix and have to do a better job of is sustaining drives. That means cleaning up our third downs, whether it's mental errors, making sure we're always on the same page with what we're doing, things like that, and just finishing drives. Never settling for field goals and doing a great job in the red zone, executing, understanding what we're trying to get accomplished. Those are the biggest things. But also is just looking at, okay, when the ball's in certain people's hands, what are they doing with it? Are we getting it in the right people's hands enough, and making sure we've got enough ways to do that?
How would you evaluate the way you guys have done as far as time between plays and just the speed you want to operate with and where you want to be?
Right. No, I think we've done a great job playing with the tempo that we're trying to. I think we can be better at and use some different things that we do that are part of the offense to, probably play a little bit more complementary football, slow things down at times, gain an advantage that way. People probably don't realize this. Nowadays people find it harder when you huddle at times because you don't show the formation. A lot of defense coordinators, they try and wait as long as they can, see the formation before they make a call. And so there's some things like that I think we can mix in, especially at the end of the games or just different situations. But as far as the pace of play, I think we do a great job of that. Our guys do a great job with ball mechanics and playing how we want to play.
Coach, since games started until this week, there's kind of always been, Jake would start. This week, there's the uncertainty there. How does that kind of, even though everyone prepares to play, how does that change the way you guys practice, hoping to buy them this week?
Yeah, no, it's always going to come down to who we think gives us the best chance to win the game. And last game we made a switch and felt like it was just the right time. Felt like it was a time to give Caden a chance. They both have great practices the last 2 weeks. I know that gets redundant to say, but they have. I'm not going to sit up here and lie. And so they've both done a great job. And at the end of the day, like I said, it'll come down to whoever's going to take care of the football, who's going to execute at a high level and give us a chance to win.
Obviously, with the way that they hold on to the football, you have fans saying you can't go too fast. You have us in the media saying you can't go too fast when you have the football. How do you tone all that out and let the defense be the defense and the offense be the offense?
Yep, I think if you look at just their first 5 or 6 games that they've played, I think that is the best thing they do is they get people out of their rhythm and what they want to do. And you see it on tape, like games are tight early on, and they just kind of sit there and wait for other people to get out of the rhythm and try and do something they're not accustomed to, and I think it throws them off. And so I think there's a healthy balance. We got to go play our game, and we got to be who we are. We've got to stay aggressive. We got to take shots. We got to play with tempo. But at the same time, you got to understand who you're playing. And like I said earlier, we got to play complementary football. And so if that means us changing some things up and, huddling at times, whatever it takes to win the game, we're going to do. And so, but that is a common theme. You look at the UAB game, you look at the Tulsa game, it's tight early, and they just kind of sit there and wait for you to make a mistake. And if we can avoid those and play complementary football, I think we'll have a great chance to win the game.
Army hasn't trailed all year. How important is it to go out there and set the tone early?
No question. You want to try and go put them in a situation that they haven't been in or they're not accustomed to, because that's the thing. They've been and had so much success is because they've gotten to dictate how they want each one of these games to go. They want to get a lead, and they want to sit on the ball and sit on the clock. And so we got to do a great job of trying to, we get the ball early, go score early. And, I know Blake and those guys, they've prepared their tails off. They're going to do a great job defensively. We got to make sure we go do our part. And when we get opportunities to go score and put those guys in situations they don't want to be in, we got to go try and take advantage of it and do it.
Kind of a unique significant of an underdog going into the game. How do you feel like your unit has kind of channeled that mentality going up this week?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity, and our guys are excited about it. It's I don't know how many people on our staff have been up there and played up there. It's a cool place to play. I think it's one of the most underrated venues in college football. We had a chance to go up there probably 7 or 8 years ago. It's a great place to play. They got a great football team, great fan base. So it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity for us to go play a great football team in a cool venue, and try and go prove what we really think we are. And I don't feel like we've done that yet, and I think we got a chance to go do it this weekend.
Given the results at Charlotte, I don't think anybody really saw that coming. How have the offensive leadership kind of responded since that time?
Yeah, that's the thing I've been most proud of is I think just from a standpoint of, us as coaches, we know it, and those players know it's unacceptable. Like to go put that on tape is unacceptable. And obviously it starts from the top down, but our players have taken ownership in the things that, they did that caused some of those things. We took ownership as coaches, showed things on tape like, hey, I got to do a better job of putting you guys in a better situation to have success. Hey, but when the play's there, gosh dang, you guys got to make the play. There's accountability from both sides and from all standpoints. And so I've been really proud of how our guys have just responded, because it was just, you learn from it, and then they just put their head down, they went back to work. And that's the thing about not only our unit but our team. That's what they do, and they've continued to do that. I'm just really excited for them to go out and get another opportunity this weekend.
How do you think Caden did, kind of being thrown into a tough situation?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird part in the game. Getting thrown in there at a 2-minute drive. As he kind of got his feet wet, but the reason for that being was, I didn't want him to come out in the second half and, kind of start there. I wanted him to go ahead and get a flow of the game. But I thought he did good. Once he got in there and got settled, I thought he made good decisions. He took care of the ball. He had an unfortunate turnover there on the screen. But I thought he made good decisions. And I thought as the game went on, he got more and more comfortable. And he's, like I said, he's had a great week of practice. So I'm really pleased with where he's at, how he played the other day.
And what do you see out of Army's defense, schematically, everything?
The thing about them that's going to jump out to you is just how they play, the effort they play with. They run to the football. They are sound in what they do. They got guys in the right spots. You're not gonna trick them or catch them out of position. They're going to be where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there. They play with great physicality. They play with great pad level, and it is a huge challenge because they're going to make it hard on you for you to run the ball. They're going to make it hard on you to find passing lanes. That's what I think they do such a great job of is mixing up their looks. They're going to give our guys a ton of different looks, and we got to be able to try and go execute with what we see. But it's a really, really deep unit that plays really well together.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, that's, you got to own it. You got to be a man about it. You got to move forward on it. You got to go back and review it, check it out, see what we didn't do well, what we did do well, and move forward with it. There's a lot of little stuff, of a guy would lose leverage here, or a guy's trying to make a play here, or a guy's trying to do more than his job. It goes back to just doing your job. Be my 1/11th of a defense. And if I do my job, I keep leverage on the football, the alley guy can now do his job and pursue inside out. But if I lose my leverage because I'm trying to make a play, now the ball bounces on the whole defense and we give up a big run. And that's really what it comes down to. And, once one of those mistakes happen, somebody else thinks they have to make a play or lose a little confidence in what they're doing, slows them down a little bit, and just kind of domino effect there. And definitely an embarrassing day for us all. Definitely something that we've slept with a lot over the last 2 weeks. Just remind us of urgency and intent and purpose and how we attack practice each and every day, and kind of lit a fire under our guys and coaches as well. So got to get it fixed. Got to move on about it. Each and every week's a new opponent, new opportunity. We needed that bye week to kind for two reasons: kind of fresh, rest up, and get our legs back under us for one, and two, you're facing a new offense in Army. Who's an option offense and gives you time to prepare for those guys, kind of a little bit different than every opponent you've had up until this point. So that was good, and then we got to take, what mistakes we made all season into this game. We'll have to get a fix in the bye week and then get prepared in preparation for Army.
The way the Charlotte guys kind of mentioned post-game, just that, felt like they were making your guys give up. I mean, how have they really taken that to heart over the bye week?
Yeah. I think anytime you're on that side of it, especially as a player, you probably feel that way. I'm not sure I saw that exactly what they said on film, but at the same time, we didn't play it up to our standard to play the way we have defensively since I've been here. And our guys are really upset about it, really pissed off about it, as we should be, as coaches, as we should be. And that's something we got to take each and every day to figure out how we're going to get that fixed and make sure we're making a point of it. It's in the back of our minds. Obviously our focus is on Army, but it's always in the back of our minds and making sure that never happens again and we get it corrected.
The last few years leading into Navy, you guys have spent a period or two every Sunday
Mhm.
kind of prepared.
Yep.
Did you guys do that this year due to the bye week and the extra preparation?
Yeah, so we knew, in the past years, we'd always preseason camp, prepare for Navy, prepare for the option, and then every Sunday night, kind of leading up to Navy, we prepare for them as well. This year, we knew we had the bye week and 2 weeks to get ready for Army, so we did not do that during those Sunday nights. Just kind of went with that opponent of the week. But this year, we had Army for 2 weeks of preparation. We did prepare in preseason camp for both Army and Navy in option game, and our base fundamentals there. And then as we got closer to Army here, with the bye week, kind of focusing on that and what they do and what you got to take away and stop from them.
Coach, I know every offense is a little bit unique and different from each other, but when you do look like that offense in Army, how much more difficult is that for you and the defense to prepare for?
Yeah. I tell you what stands out about Army is they come off the football. The way they come off the football up front, the way they come off the football in the backfield, and the way they play with leverage and take on the point of contact and just knocking people off the ball, and they're playing the game the right way. So a lot of respect to Coach Monken, Cody Worley, the offense coordinator I worked with at Kennesaw State, Danny Verpels, their safety coach, a good friend of mine, worked with him at Kennesaw State as well, so know a lot of their coaches. But the offense is a little bit different. Bryson Daly is, if you gave a mid-year Player of the Year award, it may be very well be Bryson Daly. He's responsible for 20 touchdowns. Heck of a player, tough, hard-nosed kid, runs the football. When the game's on the line or in the red zone, they put it in his hands. The B-back, the fullback, really good player, both of them. And I think that O-line is very impressive. I think, Coach Shanks on that committee for the Joe Moorhead Award, and I know Army's in that conversation, being the top O-line in the country, and they're certainly worthy of it. So we got to make sure that each individual, as we go back to the Charlotte game, mention that each individual didn't do their job, led to some big plays. It could happen the same thing this week. Every single man's got to do their 1/11th of the defense, do their job, and take care of their responsibility, whether it's tackling a dive, tackling the quarterback, taking on pitch, keeping their leverage, spilling it, alley, whatever it may be. And, if they'll do that, then we'll give ourselves a chance. And the big thing you got to do is match their physicality, because that's what they pride themselves on, their toughness, and they do a heck of a job with it, so we got to try to match that.
Watching that UAB game, it seems like Daly can throw it a bit too. How do you prepare for that additional element of the option?
Yeah, I think the option, usually creates one-on-one matchups. I mean, I was with that offense for 10-plus years, and, all the time you would see guys wide open down the field because guys got their eyes in the wrong places, in the secondary, and cut somebody free. They think he's cracking, and he's actually crack and go, or he's running post wheel, and they got the return motion out of the backfield, whatever it may be. And you get to see guys get their eyes in the wrong places. And then Bryson Daly certainly puts it in the ball in the right hands, whether it's 15 or 87, whoever it may be. And a lot of times they end up in the end zone. So they've done a great job with that. He's a really good quarterback, throws, pretty well. But the fact they kind of can run the ball and make you stack the box can kind of leave you one-on-one matchups out wide as well.
How different is it with their offense and him being such a bigger quarterback? And usually you
Yeah.
can have like a smaller, quick quarterback. He seems just extremely physical, extremely hard to tackle.
He's 220 pounds. I mean, he's we were at the Citadel in Lenore Ryan, and, over the years facing Navy, sometimes you would have a quarterback who really worried about him getting open field, making you miss a tackle. With Bryson Daly, you're worried about just, hey, can we tackle him in the C gap? I think, the kids told me They call it the pie face or something. I guess a stiff arm. I was on Sports Center last week, and that one happened to be on the Sports Center against UAB, but he does it every game, all the time against defenders. You see guys bounce off of him. You see guys, you think him having tackled up in the C gap, and all of a sudden he pops through and gains another 20 yards. And the B-back's the same way. And so we just got to do a really good job. I told our guys, hey, tackle thigh boards, and we got to top off, get guys to hats to the ball, and make sure we do a good job at that.
This group this year hasn't been in this position of being like a multiple touchdown underdog going into this game. How do you think your group has kind of channeled that mentality?
Hats off to Army and what they've been able to do this year, and 23rd team in the country. That's awesome for our conference, awesome for them. Kind of setting the standard where we want to be in. But it's also a great challenge. I mean, our guys love playing. At noon, ESPN2, 23 team in the country, underdogs, and really kind of us against the world mentality. And that's the way that you want it to be. You want to attack it. And some of us, that's the way it's been all our lives, and we go attack that thing and go at it. Don't back down from it. So that's exactly what we got to do on Saturday. That's the mentality we got to take in each and every snap. From snap one to the fourth quarter. We go back to that Navy game 2022. I was just telling the guys, we played great for about 3.5 quarters, and then we let a long pass up. You can never relax against these guys. You just mentioned Bryson and his ability to throw the ball down the field and find receivers free. You got to have great eyes. You got to do your job every single snap. And they're gonna sustain some drives, but we got to find ways to kind of get them behind the sticks, get them off schedule, and find ways to get off the field. I think they've scored first drive of every game this season, and I think they've only punted 11 times out of 6 games. So they've put up some really good numbers offensively, averaging 39 points a game. I think almost 400 yards a game rushing, all that stuff. So we got to find, ways to kind of get them off schedule and put them behind the sticks and do some things that maybe they haven't done all year, because they've had the lead in every game. They haven't trailed any game this year, so we got to make them feel uncomfortable, and we got to do that from the get-go and continue to do that every single snap.
Coach, just an update on Savon and his recovery and how he did mentally.
Yeah, he had surgery yesterday, so I texted him last night and said, I expect you at practice tomorrow morning, be full go and all that. But, he was out at practice the other day just smiling. It was awesome to see his smile and see his, just his attitude toward things and the positivity toward life. And, I'm thinking that yesterday and today probably a tough couple of days as far as the pain. And I think after that wears out and the recovery, it's a long process there. But knowing Vaughn, he'll be right at it, attack that thing, and in preparations for his next steps to be in his career.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate you guys.